So I want to discuss something. So I do the video on Rob Shrimp today, and I did the video on Rob Shrimp because it's posted all over the place. And I thought, I might as well give my take on it, which is that I can understand that with Tavares' game, which is a lot of offense, and his defensive numbers last year weren't great, that he may have struggled in Barry Trotz's system, and having Tavares in that system might have held back Barzell. Yes, it could have helped him. Yes, the Islanders could have been better, but in my opinion, I think the Islanders were better off getting a fresh start away from John Tavares. And I think that with what it freed them up, not just letting Tavares go from a standpoint of letting that part of their history go, but from the amount of money they saved too. And just not having to worry about that 8-year term that they would have had, and maybe what, 12, $13 million contract. They don't have that 12 or 13 million. He took less from Toronto than was offered by San Jose. So odds are he was being offered more by the Islanders as well. So my point is, yeah, I think the Islanders are better off without Tavares. But it's funny because whenever I talk about teams and I talk about something specific, automatically it's you hate this team. I'm bewildered by this. I hate Chicago because I don't talk about them early enough. I hate New Jersey because I don't wear their gear. I hate Pittsburgh because I don't wear their gear often enough or talk about them enough. I'm blinded by hate for Montreal. I'm a secret Toronto hater, and then I post Toronto videos all the time for views. The funny thing is, in the video with Rob Shrimp talking about Tavares, I intentionally used a thumbnail for Tavares of him in an Islanders jersey. Because it has nothing to do with Tavares with the Leafs. It actually has nothing to do with Toronto Maple Leafs either. It has to do with a former teammate of John Tavares and his opinion of Tavares, which I don't think we see enough opinions from players as it is, and I understand why not. I get why not. I just find it interesting when it comes out. And it's an opinion of a player. It's the same as if somebody asked me about what do you think of a former coworker of yours? Oh, he's useless. Well, he seems good. It's useless. It's the same idea. These guys are coworkers. And I wanted to look through videos that I've done. So I'm just gonna set aside reviews, previews, and power rankings because I do my best to cover every team. So let's take a look. I just did the 10-game winning streak of the St. Louis Blues. The Shrimp video. How likely are teams to fall out of the playoffs from here on? Oilers trade for Gagne, of course. Talbot, Oilers trade to the Flyers. The one about the rumor season being in high gear, and I used a thumbnail of Wayne Simmons because everybody's acquiring Wayne Simmons if you read the gossip sheets. Golden Knights and their struggles in year 2. The career of Tony McKegney, a journeyman, which has currently got 1,700 views, and I don't expect more than that when I do career retrospectives. That's not why I do them. I do them because I enjoy doing videos where I look back on the careers of players that I liked and discuss them. Boudreau's playoff guarantee for the Wild and how the Wild don't match up with it. Malkin about his 1-game suspension. The 75,000 subscribers video. Before that, the slumping Colorado Avalanche. My take on Huberdeau to the Blue Jackets and that rumor. That's preview review the Brody Hintz tournament. Malkin suspended. So that's announcing the suspension, not the one after where he argues that he shouldn't have been suspended. The Joe Thornton video, which talks about the 1,050 assists he's had in his career. Let's go over to the next page here. I'm just waiting for that to load. Canadiens trades, news of the day. Eastern Conference playoff race. February 10th, look at the Western Conference playoff race. The Ducks firing Randy Carlyle. Baertschi out indefinitely with post-concussion syndrome for the Canucks. The Smythe Division Turtle Derby in 1986. Reinhardt's comments on goaltending, which was right after talking about Panarin and Reinhardt, so I did the video where I talked about what Reinhardt had said, and then him clarifying the comments was the second video. The career of Jorgen Pettersson, which has 3,100 views. Thank you, Sweden. I know, I've got a lot of Swedish viewers. I did a behind the scenes video before that. I did Melnick selling hope, who's buying, so that's Ottawa. Why I wouldn't trash merchandise that I own, which is about Oilers fans throwing theirs on the ice. Cap and roster issues of the Oilers. Devils trading Boyle. I'll just go to page 3, and there's a point to this. It's something that I want to discuss publicly. Get it? Just publicly. Update on the house, and that's from Patreon. That's a Patreon video. Matthews signing the 5-year extension. I reported that because it was Matthews signing a 5-year extension, not just because it's Leafs news. So that's the first Leafs video I've found, and I'm on page 3, and it's because of a contract extension. Preview, review. And then could an upcoming Matthews extension set the RFA market, which is a video I did the day before he signed, saying could a 5-year extension set the RFA market. So again, it's not just a Toronto-centric video, it's on what it could mean for guys like Tkachuk and Besser and other guys. And yeah, Tkachuk has come out since the signing and said, yeah, that does set the market. Copley's extension, the career of Tiny Thompson, who was the guy that Tuukka Rask passed for first on the wins list for the Boston Bruins. The Western playoff race on February 3rd. Brent Seabrook's refusing to waive his no-movement clause, which he's denied. There's a live stream in there. That's a Patreon video as well. Penguins trade for McCann and Bukestad, where they traded out Brassard and Sheehan. I don't hate the Sabres video, which I posted on Patreon. Because, yeah, it's like, all right, today, Shannon, you hate, and I look at comments like, oh, do I hate them today? Oh, okay, all right. The McGuire coin video, where I talked about the commentary between the two of them, Jamie McGinn on waivers, 24 teams, 24 flash in the pan seasons, where I talk about teams that made the playoffs the year after missing and then missed the year after that. So that's looking back 3 days. That's going back to January 30th. I don't really do the whole clickbaity thing. I don't. And I don't have some residual hatred that I dance with glee when there's a video that I can post that talks about a player or a team in a negative light. A good example of that would be the Ducks. So before I had a channel, I hated anything and everything that had to do with the Anaheim Ducks. Couldn't stand them, didn't like them. And there was nothing that could make me feel bad for the Ducks. Now here we are 3 years later. And when the Ducks are losing every game, and they're playing against Washington tonight, that game's just starting, I hope they don't lose. Not because I'm against Washington, but because, man, this is just painful to watch. One thing with having center ice and watching all 31 teams, I definitely get rid of any most hatred I may have for players, and for teams in general, I absolutely do. With this channel, rather than doing what I used to do is I'd watch the Canucks. If they were down and out, I'd watch Bruins games almost exclusively. I'd just sit and watch Bruins games. I might watch a Dallas game here and there, but I didn't really have a whole lot of faith in them. So I found their games to be more upsetting than anything else a lot of the time when I watched them years back before I had a channel. But Bruins, yeah, I'd watch every game of Boston's. I'd play shipping up to Boston before I'd watch the game, and if they won the game, I'd play shipping up to Boston again after. I don't do that anymore. With the channel and with the fact that, yeah, I'm covering everything. I have to cover every team. It means that if I'm watching a game that features, I'll use Boston as an example. If they're up 4-0, and there's a game between Anaheim and San Jose that's on at the same time, and it's a 1-1 draw through the first period, I have to watch that Anaheim-San Jose game because I feel like there's a greater chance of something happening in that game that will be newsworthy for me to talk to you guys about after the game. So I will turn off a game featuring one of my favorite teams where they're absolutely destroying the opposition because I know that the other game has more tension in it and more going on. And that, again, like I said, there's more opportunity there for something to happen that'll be noteworthy than that 5th goal by Boston or that 6th goal, which in all likelihood is just, it doesn't matter. It's not important. Might be a highlight reel goal, but it's not that big a deal. One of the greatest, most replayed goals of all time, Mario Lemieux scoring on Minnesota in the Stanley Cup Final in 1991. It was not a goal of great consequence. It was not in a series that was close. And it was one of those dagger in the heart moments. It's funny how it's teams that I cheer for that are very often on the other end of that. But so for me, it's tough because when you're trying to balance 31 teams, the trick for me has always been this: I have to cover stuff when it happens that involves Toronto because I have to. I can't say, well, I'm going to cover every team except one, and it's noteworthy and newsworthy because Twitter is now news. We see people losing their careers for things that they've said on Twitter years ago. So, to me, it's noteworthy and it's newsworthy. Do I think that's necessarily fair to people that you take a tweet from 8 years ago and, oh, look what this guy said? No, but it is the world we live in now. And, I try to report these things to you guys. It even happened yesterday. So if I really wanted to go completely sensationalistic about it, I would have got up at 6 o'clock this morning and done a video about it when it was still really, really, really new. But, again, there's civil discourse has really taken a hit. And, I do laugh at things that I see in hockey, and I make comments during games. And I'm, it doesn't necessarily matter if I'm even laughing at a team that I cheer for. If something's funny, it's genuinely funny. And it's not hate. That's where it gets weird to me, is when it's ascribed to being hate. And clearly THG hates this and he hates that. I'm going to have to unsubscribe because he hates all of this. No. That's not true. Like, for instance, with Tavares. How do I feel about Tavares? I think he's a good player, which is probably an understatement, yes. I think that he is, he's a franchise guy, not a generational talent, but we're not getting into that right now. And I think that he added an embarrassment of riches to a team that already had a pretty lethal offense before he got there. And I still have lingering questions regarding their defense and going through 4 rounds. I have lingering questions about the Maple Leafs when it comes to their defense and going through 4 rounds. And I still have some concern about maybe if Freddie Anderson gets overplayed down the stretch. But in general, it's a weird thing because the Toronto videos would get views. So Shannon posts the Toronto videos for views, but he hates Toronto. So it doesn't, those two things don't add up, because of course with the way that the channel's set up, views equal cash. So if a video doesn't get any views, I don't make any money off. But if a video gets tons of views, I make a lot more money on it. So why would I hate the team that, if I post a video about it, generates more revenue than any other? Like, seriously, think about it from that point of view. Just as a person who's doing this, we're moving into a new house next weekend, and it's thanks to this channel and its growth. Why in the world would I hate on Toronto right now? I want them to make the playoffs, obviously. Why would I hate on them? That's just, it's not a thing. And it's the same with anything else. Like Chicago, I haven't cheered for Chicago since, I want to say, the late 90s. They really put me off when they went in that direction where they were drafting all the Russians and they crashed out, and it was awful. But Patrick Kane, I'll be darned if he's not the most exciting player in the league right now. He is just electrifying with that puck, and he has been all year. And now the points back it up. The point streak backs it up. So that's the kind of story that happens because of this, that if I was still just a regular hockey fan, just watching hockey games, I wouldn't pay any attention. My attitude would be, if I was not watching the Hawks and I wasn't paying attention, I'd say, they're still not going to make it. And I'd leave it at that. And if they did make it, I'd, curse and swear and get angry about it, because, that's just kind of what I used to do. Back in 2011, when Dallas could have prevented Chicago from making the playoffs and didn't, I may have had a few choice words to say 8 years ago. So, yeah, there you go. I can't, I can't change the perception of others about how I report things. And I can't, I can only tell you this. I don't have a script. There's none. Everything's done in one take. And if I don't get it on the first take and I don't like the first take, I usually don't keep it. I know Yvonne's told me before, she said, you can just upload that to Patreon. People would probably watch that. And I'm like, nah. And I just delete it. And it might be a video that was 15, 16 minutes. And at the end of it, I go, I don't like that. And she's like, well, you could throw that on Patreon. People would watch it. I'm like, I don't care. I don't like it, so it's gone. Yeah. And that's the way that I do this. And it's important to me that you're not going to make everybody happy. I know I'm not going to make everybody happy. But at the same time, there's no bias that comes in when it's a decision about what video I'm going to talk about. Like, I didn't do the video on Line A struggles just with the idea of, oh good, this is a Winnipeg video. This is good. No, it was because I really had noticed with Line A that he was struggling. And it wasn't just that he wasn't getting the goals. There was a lot of struggles going on with Line A. And it's still happening. And it is so much more magnified now than when I did the video before. And if I had done the video now, then yeah, that would have looked bad. But to me, because I did it when I did, I didn't think it was as bad. It's tricky. It's all about timing. And there are times where something will happen, something gets reported, and I go, I'm not going to talk about it. A lot of things that happen. If it involves substance abuse, if it involves domestic abuse, if it involves, yeah, I'm not talking about that. No. If it involves a player that's passed away, sorry. After what happened last summer, no, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So, yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that goes on in sports and in the hockey world I don't touch, and I won't. And I won't pile on if something really awful happens to a player's career because of something off the ice. As I said, whether it's domestic, or whether it's substance, whatever it's related to, I see it as kryptonite. I won't touch it. No chance. Anyways, there you go. Just me being me for a bit here, and just talking completely out of the THG character while my board fills up with game data and whatnot. And the review will be up soon. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And for people who may want to say, I'm out of here, I'm going to leave, I'm going to go because he hates this team and that team. It's not there. You just give it a bit. And, yeah. This is part of the reason why when I deliver previews and reviews, I try to stay as analytical as possible. There are times where people will say, oh, he's got too many numbers. Yeah, because when I give analytical, when I just get into opinions before and after games, that turns ugly. So I'll just stick to just the pure raw numbers, report what happened, report on what has happened going into previews, and then it's up to people who watch the videos to fill in the blanks and decide whatever narrative they wish. I will leave the narratives out of it when it comes to previews and reviews for that very reason. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.